Evening and welcome. The music's on, I know. Good evening and welcome to Sporlitics, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Oguna, the voice of reason.
The late
Stephen,
Aguna.
Oh, did he
the
pass?
Indian. Stephen, the independent thinker.
Did you say that? Were
Keith,
you saying the Indian is?
Keith, the constitutional conservative. I had to put cousin Todd on mute. And my cousin Todd, I had to put you on mute. You can't just go and interrupt me as I'm doing my
You
intro.
said the Indian.
No, I didn't. I was starting to say the independent and Todd. I had to put you on mute. You can't just go and
The Indian because of Kamala Harris. Well, we'll get into that.
The Federal Reserve Bank holds the rates steady. No NASCAR with Steven tonight because of the Olympics. Trump goes back to Pennsylvania and he questions Vice President Harris about being Black at the National Association of Black Journalists.
How typical.
And the other last night, Vice President Harris said to Donald Trump, "Say it to my face," in Atlanta. Netanyahu says Israel delivered a crushing blow to their enemies as a Hamas leader was killed. Paris Olympics and the medal count for Americans. J.D. Vance is attacking Democratic demographics, and it has gotten a lot of people upset. And more, if we can fit it in. First up, I'm going to bring in Keith, and I'm going to play a video, and we're going to talk about what Keith is upset with at the opening of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Let me play this first, Keith, and then I'll have you respond.
He didn't apologize. They didn't. Firstly, they're not sorry. This was signed off on. And to sit here and let France mock the country, mock your religion, make fun of every single thing you feel holy. This is the Last Supper. This is everything holy about Christianity, and we say absolutely nothing about it and say, "Oh, you cannot even complain." What are we doing wrong by saying that this is disgusting? This is not art. Everyone at home, I want you to. They don't try and trick you or deceive you. If I give you a poison apple and you eat it, I murdered you. If I say this is a poison apple, all of this is done on purpose. They're telling you exactly what's going to happen. They're coming for your kids. They're coming for all your institutions. There's nothing cultural left now. They have an influence. Europe. This is disgusting. Am I right? It's disgusting. It's disgusting. There are Christians all over the world.
Okay, Keith, you had a sorry.
Yeah.
Keith,
Yes.
you had a comment about that. What was your comment?
Well, my comment is simple. These people can, they figure they can constantly offend Christians, but they'll never offend Muslims. They'll never offend Buddhists. They don't offend those types of people, but they will offend the Christian religion. So I think that is something that's obvious. By now it should be. They're taking little parts of the Bible and they're taking out of context the meaning of it. And this is a very sacred event when Jesus broke bread with his disciples in the Last Supper before his death on the cross. And by the way, he died for those same people who are ridiculing and mocking him, as did the one at the base of the cross. So he died for them too. Those people need repent, then I believe that a whirlwind of judgment will fall on them. And that is what I'm mostly concerned about, is that people will be judged for their sins. And it ain't going to be pretty, not when God executes judgment. God is giving us time to repent and turn from our ways. But if we don't turn from our ways, they will, people will suffer the consequences. One other thing, God is not mocked for whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. And I wouldn't boycott the whole Olympics, because all of those athletes, they struggled and trained and prepared for that moment. So I would be against boycotting the Olympics. But I just want to warn those people who are demonstrating their disrespect for Christianity and for what Christ did. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, do you think that they realized that they were doing that when they did it? Or do you think it was just kind of showmanship?
Well, they admitted what they were doing, and they know that was going to offend people. And it had to. They knew what they were doing, and I can't figure out why. And Keith, you said they wouldn't do that to the Islamist people. What? But you remember they did. Remember that France did. They mocked Islam and drew cartoons of what Muhammad looked like, and then what happened to the French? They got killed. They went in there and murdered them. That religion of
What are you referring
peace.
to specifically?
Charlie, I think his name was Charlie Badeau or whatever. He worked at a newspaper or something, and they had a contest of who's going to draw Muhammad. You can't draw Muhammad, so they drew Muhammad, and then so not long after that, some Islamists came in there and killed him. Do you not recall this?
I don't. Cousin Todd, I don't
do
even
you remember it?
Maybe Todd knows.
Yeah, I remember one guy killed one guy.
No, look at Google it. Google it.
Okay.
So that's what they do, but that's what they'll do. You know what the Christians will do? You know what the Christians will do to these people that mock them?
Steven.
No, you know what the Christians will do? They'll pray for them. That's why they can make fun of. That's why they can make a fun of Christianity all the time the way they do, because they know they're not going to get killed.
Okay,
They ain't not going to play with Islam.
All right.
Okay, Cousin Todd, as a Christian, were you offended by that Last Supper scene as an opening for the Olympics?
Okay. No. Now, let me say this.
Todd's a Christian? I didn't know that. Yeah. Thank you, Todd. That's
Can you control your peanut gallery? I'm asking the host. If you can't, it's okay, but I'd like to know. So anyway, this is what I was saying. I know that Christians forgive, because there was a white boy that went into a church and they welcomed him with open arms, and he was the devil, and he started to shoot those black Christians who welcomed him with open arms. And so he was prayed for. So I know that, Stephen. Don't need you to tell me that.
He wasn't a Christian.
I'm moving on, ma'am. So, to draw those paintings, it doesn't offend me. And people who are so easily offended are silly. Get a sense of humor. It's not that heavy. And let God handle God's business. Why are you even interested? God shall not be mocked. God can take care of himself. Right. Don't need you at all.
Well, I am his servant, and I must speak out because he commands me to speak out. And those were a bunch of, and those were all drag queens standing up there. Come on.
And one of them had their testicles hanging out of his shorts, but in his defense, he may not have known.
Well,
because he probably forgot he had any.
Well, the thing is, God made those bodies, so God is not offended by his testicles hanging out. Only you are, ma'am.
God don't want nobody to dress up like that, Todd. God don't want men to dress up like women.
Ma'am.
So God is offended by that.
Ma'am.
And then do the supper on top of it.
Do you see?
Boy, that's gonna be a cold place in hell for those people.
Stacy, this is the thing about this demonic psychopath. He says, I'm the only one you put on mute. Why you put me on mute? And on and on and on. You see? And you see how he was talking over me constantly? But he's a Trump supporter, so he doesn't realize what he was doing. So now back to what I was saying without interruption. And
you're going to make it quick. You can't talk the whole show, Tom.
You can't do this to me when these devils keep interrupting me. So now, like I was saying, um, God isn't so easily offended like Stephen and his his buddy Keith. So God doesn't care what these people wear. That's I've often asked these people this
But
question.
wait a minute,
Do
Todd.
you
Before
know
you
the
go on to some
difference?
tirade,
No
we know
tirade.
as Christians in the Bible, they talk about blasphemy, and blasphemy is the worst sin when you're
Wait a
intentionally
minute.
ignoring the goodwill of God.
All
And
right.
when you have someone who mocks the Last Supper, isn't that intentionally ignoring the goodwill of God
Okay. Now
by sending Jesus
let me
to die for their sins?
let me try to help you here. There is no one sin. You try to, like Trump, you try to make up something and call it a fact. Thou shalt not be mocked. That's the biggest sin. What is the biggest sin in the Bible, Stacy? I'm
I just said it.
asking
It's
you.
blasphemy.
And
I
it's
just said it.
not. It's not.
It is. It's blasphemy.
No, there's no one greater sin. I
It
always
is
thought,
blasphemy.
no, it's not. No, it's not. All sin is sin. That's it. Now, this is remember I said to you, dingbats, do you know the difference between religion and spirituality? I said religion is man made with all of his rules and regulations. Spirituality is God given. Now, Stephen was talking about clothes. God don't want their clothes. You're talking about clothes, dum dum. God isn't interested in your drag, dum dum. Do you see how dumb you are? And you try to make God as dumb as you. Now that's a sin, Stacy. Talking
All
about
right. Thank you.
blaspheming
So,
to make
this
God
is, let me share
as
my
simple
screen.
minded as Stephen and Keith talking about what a person wears offends God.
It says,
Good
according to
night.
Christians, if you can see the screen, one eternal or unforgivable sin is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, also known as the sin unto death, is specified in several passages. So that is, sorry.
That's man-made, like I said before, and they were
So
talking
what, you're
about.
trying to say religion is man-made?
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. Which hold it.
Because
I've
he's a
said that
Christian.
for years and years and years and years and years, because men wrote the Bible. Got it? And they put in all these extras like women can't preach. Only the men.
Okay, so
And
let me
wait a
get
minute. Wait a
let me
minute.
get Aguna in
And
here because he's
women
chomping at the bits.
and women are second to men. Men lead, women don't. All these are men writing this. You see? So they're men leaning, and you have to remember the period they were living in. So women were less than second-class citizens. So men wrote these things as they were men leaning. So anyway, and as a matter of fact, King James version, a king. Can you imagine a king writing the Bible? And King James was gay anyway. Oops, I've said too much. King James,
Thank
he's the
goodness.
one that said,
You can't
men
talk the
shall
whole
not
show.
lay with other men. Meanwhile, he was gay.
You
Because,
can't talk the whole
okay.
show.
No, he
Okay.
knew
Thank
the
you.
King
good
So
thing.
James version.
this is a picture of what they were making fun of at the opening of the Olympics. Aguna, do you want to comment on the Last Supper during the Olympics
Why do you think
2024,
that's
the
the
opening
Last
ceremony?
Supper?
They said it was.
Yeah, I didn't really see this. I love the opening ceremony. By the way, I like the way they integrated, the whole pageantry of the Olympics with the city of Paris and how French culture and everything like that. So this is part of that. I didn't necessarily see this particular scene. I heard about it, But I mean, it's it's the Olympic Games, it's France, it's their culture kind of thing. So
But is there? Yeah, but is there? And this is in the NewYorkPost.com. Is there the Paris Olympics admitted opening ceremony drag show was based on the Last Supper? But is that, as a Christian, offensive and blasphemous?
He said
Aguna?
no. He's already said no.
I probably no. There are going to be people that are going to be offended by that. There's people that are offended by
So
everything.
what?
So
what?
I mean, it's just again, it's entertainment. It's the
So
Olympics.
Aguna is not offended. To make a long story short,
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
surprised.
stop talking for
Yeah.
Aguna.
I'm
Stop talking for
not
Aguna. I'm
surprised.
sorry. Stop talking for Aguna.
It's the
We're going to
French.
move on
They this is what they do over there.
to the.
oh, now he's
To
trying to get
the-
negative so that he can
No,
fit in with
I'm
his.
not getting negative. It's just, did you see? I mean, because there was like a montage to Menage a Trois, in the whole opening ceremony too. I mean, they had all kind of stuff going on, So it was like, hey, that's French. It's supposed to be romance.
It's not French. That's the world. That's American. That's France. That's England. That's everywhere.
Even
So what is
godless
this-
China wasn't blasphemous when they did their opening for the
Look at this
last
devil.
Olympics.
Listen at this devil. Now,
I mean,
it-
Why
it's
am I
not our
devil?
country. I mean, it's not our country. I'm not going to pass judgment.
Well,
Let
stop
them.
causing trouble, cousin Todd. Let's look at the medal count. Stephen, and then Guna, then Keith. If you look
I
at this
can't
medal
believe
count, I'll
Stacy
try
would
to
even
make it.
make that a topic. You shouldn't have let Keith force you into making that dumb topic on the show. That was dumb
that's
and a
what Keith
waste of time.
That's what Keith wanted to talk about.
Of course,
wanted-
because
we
it
talked
was
about it.
gay
After
people,
wars.
and he's obsessed with gay people. He is obsessed.
Just because they dress like women doesn't mean they're gay, Todd.
Yeah, look at oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's look at the medal count.
Okay.
The Americans, well, number one with the gold medals is the People's Republic of China. And this is located at the Olympics.com. This is their site, so it's newly updated. The People's Republic of China have 9 gold. France have 8 gold. Japan has 8. Australia has 7. Great Britain has 6. Republic of Korea has 6. And the United States is number 7 with 5 gold medals. However, if you look at the total number of medals, the United States has 30, whereas the People's Republic of China has 19, France has 26, Japan has 15, Australia has 16, Great Britain has 17, Republic of Korea has 12, and the United States has 30. Cousin Todd, do you want to talk about the tennis portion with Coco Graf? Oh, he's not there.
Yeah,
Aguna,
Coco gone.
or Stephen? Coco
Yeah, they ought to
gone.
name her Coco gone now. But she can play in the doubles, but she lost the individual, so she's out of that.
Thank you,
Wasn't there
Todd.
a controversy? There was some type of controversy.
Well, there was a controversy with the line judge. She felt as though during one hit she was penalized and the judge didn't come off of it, and it gave the other player the advantage over her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she was
Stuff like
very
that happens
upset
all
about
the
that.
time
She was
in the
never
Olympics.
able to recover. She was never able to recover after that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You said who was commenting?
When some things are like in the hands of judges like that, or if you got competitions where they score you from 6 to 9 or whatever 10, it's in the judges' hands, and you never know what's going on with these judges or what they want to happen or anything. But I think it's mostly above board. You would hope, but I didn't get to see that, but I did see some gymnastics with the guys. They were pretty incredible to get a medal, a bronze.
And Simone Biles from the United States with the gymnastic team, United States won gold. Aguna, did you want to talk about me? I just think the Olympics is the best time of the year because we have all different types of sports. We have the equestrian, we have table tennis, we have dirt bikes, we have sailing, we have basketball, and track and field is supposed to start August 1st or 2nd.
Break
And I'm
dancing.
sure then we'll see
Yeah,
more
I mean, some of those
medals
sports,
from the
but
United States.
the United States is big enough so they can compete in all the sports. So we usually win the medal count. I know they are looking at China. I don't know if you've talked about the doping topic or not yet, but
No, go ahead. I haven't.
Well, I know Keith has always been on top of this as far as China doping and getting tested, and some of the Chinese athletes saying that they didn't take any doping, is just the foods that they ate or something like that they were trying to say. But yeah, so the United States usually it wins in the medal count, and then once track and field and some of the other sports start hitting, you're going to see a lot of the uptick in the gold. So it's exciting, especially for some of the smaller countries that don't typically get medals at all. So it's Olympics is typically controversy, doping, and all that aside, is a good news story for the world, because the world comes together, they compete with cultures and hear about different countries that you never heard before, some of which will never get a medal, but at the same time, we at least have that opening ceremony where you can at least see the different and see how big and diverse the world really is.
And I want
So
to
we
point
have,
out
let
something.
me say some of the sports. It's I'll share my screen. Archery. I mean, there's so many sports, like you said, Aguna. A lot of the different and smaller countries get to play in different areas. So you see, we have archery. What's over here? Come on. I think I have to make it smaller. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Archery, artistic gymnastics, artistic swimming, athletics, badminton, basketball. Oh, I love that. Beach volleyball, basketball 3x3, boxing, breaking, canoe slalom, canoe sprint, cycling BMX, freestyle, cycling BMX racing, cycling mountain bike, cycling road, cycling track, diving. The diving was really good when that French diver won the gold. He beat our American Michael Phelps record. Equestrian, fencing, on guard, football, golf, handball, hockey, judo, marathon swimming, modern pentathlon, rhythmic gymnastics, rowing, rugby sevens, and the United States women won a rugby gold, sailing, shooting, skateboarding, sport climbing, surfing, swimming, table tennis, taekwondo, tennis, trampoline, triathlon, volleyball, water polo, which was really good. We have an American team with water polo, like
Flavor
what
Flav,
would they say in that?
sponsored
Pardon?
by Flavor Flav.
Yes, weightlifting and wrestling. That's a lot. Todd, did you want to talk about Coco Golf?
He's
We
on.
can't hear
No,
you.
I wanted to mention that there's a lot of those sports in there that I haven't heard of, and so I wanted to recommend that they have jacks. It's a sport. Dead block is a sport. Double dutch.
Oh, fine.
Oh, brother.
Dominoes.
No, ma'am.
Darn it. Chinese checkers. I bet you Chinese win that every time.
That sounds a little racist.
I wanna-
Okay, let's move
Of
on.
course it is. He can't help himself.
Of course it is.
I
And
want to point out
God
something.
would be offended by that, and so would the Chinese.
The game is called Chinese checkers.
I wanna
I didn't make it up. Been around since like the 60s or something. It's a
I want to
game.
point out an observation, Stacy.
Go ahead, Keith.
It's interesting to note. Oh, Guna left. I was hoping.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, and that's okay with me. But over the years, the difference in America, the United States, we are self-sponsored. In other words, we have to get our own sponsors. Most of these athletes are sponsored by their government. Well, I guess it depends on, like Russia, the Soviet Union or whatever it was. They sponsor their athletes. China, the government sponsors their athlete. Our government doesn't.
So, in other words, you want
the
bigger
athletes
government, right?
They train hard and they train on their own. They're sponsored by whatever way, private organizations and so
What
forth.
is this
So
point?
my point is this:
Hallelujah.
we have the most medals. You saw that we had the most medals, and in this team effort, I think that says a lot. For the
What does that
independence of America.
say?
Huh?
All right,
What
thank
does
you.
that
I got to
say?
move
I
on.
don't even know what you're talking
I
about.
just pointed out. You don't get it?
No.
You don't
Are
get
you
it?
saying it's best to go on your own? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Republican?
American ingenuity.
Yay. Thank
American
you. Just say
ingenuity.
that.
American innovation. These athletes they
God.
struggle, they try hard. Now I have to admit, they got professional ball players playing, and I guess it's well, I don't know, the women's. I'm talking about basketball. Maybe Stephen
Right.
can.
No.
All right. Well, maybe
Tonight,
Stephen can
former
comment on
President
this.
Trump's vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, at the center of a political firestorm over these resurfaced comments made in 2021.
Is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
Vance seeming to imply that people without children shouldn't be in government.
You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Those claims sparking fierce backlash. Democrats opening up a new attack line on the GOP ticket, branding the newly minted pairing weird.
It's not just a weird style that he brings. It's that this leads to weird policies.
It is bizarre. It's weird. It is weird.
Even Friends star Jennifer Aniston, who's spoken publicly about her struggles with infertility, writing on Instagram, "Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day." Vance initially offering this scathing reply.
First of all, that's disgusting because my daughter is 2 years old. And second of all, if she had fertility problems, as I said in that speech, I would try everything I could to try to help her because I believe families and babies are a good thing. Obviously, it was a sarcastic comment. I've got nothing against cats.
Vance confronted about the issue again on Fox News.
Do you agree that there are people who very much love this country and are invested in its
They're helping.
but they also happen to be childless?
Oh, of course I believe that.
Of
If you look at the
course.
full context of what I said, it's very clear the Democrats have tried to take this thing out of context. It's the fact that the Democratic Party has become explicitly anti-family in some of their policies.
Vance's time as Trump's running mate so far, not always going as planned, including this awkward joke about soda that some say landed a little flat.
Well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good.
Trump's critics now questioning Vance's value to the now three-time GOP nominee.
Does he keep Vance on the ticket where he already has a whole lot of baggage? He's probably going to be more baggage over the weeks because we'll hear more things about him. Or does he pick someone new? It's his choice.
Now, despite these bumps in the road, former President Trump is ignoring the growing criticism of his choice, continuing to call Vance a great pick, and Trump's allies are echoing that defiance. Tom?
The racist.
Okay, Stephen, let me ask you. I mean, one, his joke about the diet, what was it? Diet what?
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Diet Mountain Dew. He said drinking that is racist. And then whether or not Trump should keep him on the ticket.
Wait, what about what he said? Oh my gosh, Stacey is horrible.
Well, it's about Todd keeping him on the ticket, considering all of his gaffes and how they are saying what you just saw in that video. How they're saying he's becoming more of an albatross than he is.
What's racist about the Mountain Dew?
Very good. Only thing is, Stacey, it's not a gaffe. It's what he believes. So that's not a gaffe. Go ahead.
Stacey, he was basically saying that everything he says will be racist or misogynist. Like if he says, I'm going to drink a Mountain Dew today, somebody's going to say, that's racist, you're drinking Mountain Dew. He could have said Coca-Cola. He could have said Dr. Pepper. He could have said anything. What the point is, Todd, that no matter what he says or does, he's going to be called a racist because of the color of her skin. They wouldn't call him right. But that's just the way. The same thing that happened when we had Obama as president. I was racist because anything I said about Obama, I had to be racist. We couldn't even have a discussion about anything. We were all on the show together.
That's just who you are.
Yeah, I'm just a racist. But it's also saying about people that don't have people that choose not to have kids. And they have careers. They have the cats. And what he's saying is they have a different perspective in life other than the people who have families and have a family and try to raise their children right and everything like that. Where the left is everything is more. It's kind of weirdly anti-child. Like a lot of you don't want school choice, don't want better things for children. You're pro-abortion.
Okay.
You're pro-mutilation of children. That's what he's saying. If you had children,
Thank
you'd
you.
have a different way of looking. Maybe you'd even be a midway
Well,
Republican,
Keith
as our
doesn't
friend
have any
Aguna
children.
is.
Your boyfriend
'Cause he
Keith
has-
doesn't have any children, and
It's
so
different when you have children. It
Well,
just
Keith
is.
doesn't
You
have
look at things a
any.
little bit differently, but that
Keith
don't mean
doesn't
that's
have
not a monolith. That's not just.
Keith doesn't have
And
any.
it's just something he said 3 years ago. But they got to find anything about him. They got to find anything he says.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Aguna.
Okay, me. Well,
Aguna.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Aguna. Will Trump dump Vance and then try to bring someone else, like, I don't know, the North Dakota governor?
Well, he might if the pressure mounts. And if you saw that second clip when the Fox News host was pressing JD Vance on what he said, and he kind of doubled down, that's kind of like the chink in the armor, the litmus test of seeing whether or not there may be an opportunity to split this or take him off the ticket. Now, I don't think he could technically take Vance off the ticket at this point because it's after the convention, but they may pressure Vance to step down, especially as a lot of this stuff is coming out. And see, the problem is JD Vance is not Donald Trump, so he can't say certain things and get away with it like Trump is, because people just write Trump off as saying these things. Now, the problem is he can't deliver it in a way that connects with folks. It's very awkward. They're pinning this whole thing weird on him because as a guy, why are you even commenting on that type of thing? The thing is, to say that the Democrats are anti-family and then you're voting in the Senate against child tax credits and things like that nature that actually support families, and then you're also not giving women the right to have healthcare options when it comes to family planning and stuff like that, you're kind of digging yourself in a hole when you come to these things if you're not adding context in a way that resonates with people. He shouldn't have said it. He should have said, hey, I said it. I was wrong. This is what I meant. Let's move on. Instead, he's doubling down and he's allowing the media as well as the Democrats to continue to pin him for this. And it's going to follow him through their election. And he's so socially awkward and kind of incoherent when it comes to the context of his message. He can't get out of his own way. And this is just the beginning because he said a lot of things. He equated Donald Trump to Hitler. And so it's like he's said a lot of things that show that the choice that Donald Trump made to pick him as a running mate is not a good choice. It's too, because if you're explaining the guy that's not on the top of the ticket, if you're having to defend him at this point in your campaign, that's not a good thing, especially coming off the convention and not getting your convention bounce like normal. Most
leave some food on the plate.
Donald Trump nearly got killed, and we talk about it for a couple of days. This guy says something about cat women, and they're going to talk about it forever. We don't even talk about Donald Trump anymore. Much getting killed. We don't know nothing about the killer.
Right. What Stephen is doing. Let me just finish this last point. What Stephen is doing is a trap that the right is falling into. This whole "I'm a victim, woe is me." They're talking about this. Stop. Talk about the issue. Get out of your own way. You're sitting here and you're complaining. You're trying to make
that too many of us died.
Donald Trump is a victim. Everybody's a victim. Yet you don't want people. Of
when you're shot, you're the victim. That's how it works, Goon. I hate to tell you about that.
He lived, right?
Okay.
Me. JD
we didn't even talk about Trump getting shot and not knowing what happened and not talking about the Secret Service or the FBI. We're not even talking about any of that. We're talking about something the man said 3 years ago about cat women. Because you have nothing. You have nothing. You're pathetic. Your side is pathetic. Your side.
He's doing it again. He's a victim. I'm a victim. I can't talk about Mountain Dew.
Okay. I just want Stephen to know that what he's doing is disrespecting your show when he does that over and over and over. And then when you mute him, he's so sick in the head. He says, "Why you only mute me?" Oh, God. Anyway, now this is what I was going to say.
Yeah, because I didn't even ask you a question, Cousin Todd. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hurry up. You can't slow it up. You got to be
Oh
fast.
my gosh. Stacey, do you know, I'm going to say this to you, Stacey. Do you know how crazy you...
Don't say anything to me. Just take your 3 seconds.
You don't realize... You don't realize how crazy you look because the audience just saw Stephen go on and on and on and on and on with craziness. And then you came to me and said, Hurry up. Do it. Say it for 3 seconds.
Yeah, because you started off like this. Well, I
No.
guess
Okay.
I'll
I couldn't
start
talk because
my
Aguna.
story.
All right.
I'm a victim.
And then
I can't even talk
I'll
about Mountain Dew.
Okay.
about the subject. You just started slow.
J.D. Vance
Get it going.
was trying to be shady with, and nobody caught this except intelligent people, with Buttigieg. When he said he was talking about cat ladies, but then he threw Buttigieg in there, which tells me he's a lady boy, slick lady boy. Anyway, to
And what is
say
the definition of a lady boy?
J.D. Vance. Now, to say that women who don't have children should not run the country, you have, which Stacey, you and I discussed prior to this, presidents. The father of the United States didn't have any children. Does anybody know who the father
George
of the United States?
Washington.
Yay!
George Washington didn't have natural children. He raised his wife's children.
See that? And he's known as the father of the nation.
It's not a winning argument. He needs to move on from it, but he can't.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then Keith himself has
Keith.
no children.
Thank you.
Yet he's a teacher and he teaches martial arts and he helps children. And so what J.D. Vance just did was completely stupid. And he's doubling and tripling down on stupid because Donald Trump made it appropriate to do that.
Okay,
because
thank
his
you.
fans are Keith and Steve.
He doesn't know any better.
Keith,
That's who he is.
America
Keith,
first.
do you have a comment before I go to question mark? Keith? What's your
Yes.
comment?
It amazes me how divided the country is in that we don't speak the same language anymore. We don't speak English. There was a time when the country understood what jokes or what different types of words.
Oh, so he was joking.
And they would know. No, I'm not saying he was joking. I'm just saying they
Well,
in
what are you
comedy.
saying exactly?
I'm
That you don't speak English. He said Todd doesn't speak English.
He's
repeated
it.
No, there was a
repeating.
time, and of course that was before you guys, I guess, were born. So you're probably, your generation doesn't understand that anymore. I mean, have you ever watched Archie Bunker?
Yes.
You know, oh man, I tell you.
Okay, you're going too
But
slow.
anyway,
You're going
have
too
you ever
slow,
watched?
Keith.
Have you ever watched Sanford and Son? Okay, but anyway,
Were they running for president? Were they running for president?
The whole point is when JD
Were they a
Vance
vice
said,
presidential candidate?
what JD Vance said was obvious to me, that the Democrats' policies are anti-family. That's the simple
Okay,
thing.
thank you.
What he's saying.
Question mark.
So the child
Question mark.
tax credit. The child tax
Okay.
credit.
Thank you. Question mark. Welcome to Sporlitics, where sports and politics mix and mingle. What's your comment?
First of all, Aguna got to stop trying to steal all the good points. So I was going to bring up the child tax credit. I was going to bring up the child free lunch. I was going to bring up the idea of rent assistance. All these other things that they talk about to help families live a better life. And the right are the ones who are against all of those things. So J.D. Vance, he just wasn't ready for this level of access and the amount of scrutiny that comes with it. He was a bad pick. We all thought that initially, and it looks like we're being proven right. And old Trumpy might have to tell that boy, look, man, you got to go. Like, you're dragging the ticket down as the vice. What did Trump say today? Well, typically the vice president has not been that important, kind of letting you know what he thinks about Vance. But yeah, that dude is a disaster. And I don't know why Stephen and Keith are wasting breath defending that dude. He might not even be around, man.
Well, the tech people want him in there, and tech money is good for Trump, and that's why he picked him.
Well, not only that, like he said, with Elon Musk and these guys supporting crypto and wanting to devalue the dollar, there's a reason why tech is behind him. And when you talk about regulation and deregulating Bitcoin, that's going to have people start going over to Bitcoin versus the dollar, devaluing the dollar. So you're talking about inflation and all this other stuff now. Yeah, they're going to put tariffs in place. J.D. Vance is going to put tariffs in place because what's an alternative to get around tariffs is crypto. All right. So why would you want that in the free market?
Speaking of money, please Aguna, will you go on to talk about the Federal Reserve and how they held rates today?
Yeah, and this is something we speculated they were going to do. One of the reasons why they were raising interest rates was because of inflation, and inflation came about despite what people on the show may think. It was because it was a residual effect of the supply chain issues that happened during COVID when everything was shut down.
All
and
over the
people
world.
had to figure out, how to get products and move goods and things like that. So, of course, once that was lifted, you had a lot of supply chain issues, a lot of supply and demand issues. So now, prices of goods went up. So couple that with, the fact that you want to use inflation. I mean, in order to stable off inflation, they raised the interest rate. So now the Fed is saying, okay, we slow down the growth, we slow down, the inflation. Sure. And now if you look at the facts, inflation rates are now right around the same level as they were when Trump was in office. So they've kind of stayed that off. Now the central bank will probably keep rates the way they are, because the other part about this is the housing market, where people are having a hard time to get into homes because home values have gone up as well as interest rates are going up. And when that happens, typically, people don't buy homes. They stay in the rental market. So the Fed's, the central bank, keeping rates the way they are does two things. One, it stays off inflation, but it also adds stability to the market. So now companies can say, okay, we can make hiring decisions. We can start speculating, especially going into the third quarter on, how our strategy and growth opportunities are going to happen in the new year. So it's a good thing. It stabilizes the market. Now, the big thing that people are going to be looking at is the election. So depending on who's going to be in office, companies are going to start positioning and jockeying for what the post-election administration is going to look like. And with the rise of Kamala, they're starting to think, okay, maybe it's going to be more things the same versus wild west if we deregulate everything.
Kick the can down the road. Kick the can down the road.
That's not anything close to what I said, but you just wanted to speak. I get it.
All right. This comment, and then
Did you hear what Stacey just said? They always kick the can down the road. This is not what Aguna was talking about.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
No.
Between now and September, would you?
It means delay the inevitable.
As sort of the baseline scenario right now.
What?
So I guess I would think about it this way. I'll give an example of cases in which it would be appropriate to cut, and maybe that it wouldn't be appropriate to cut. So if we were to see, for example, inflation moving down quickly, or more or less in line with expectations, growth remains, let's say, reasonably strong, and the labor market remains, consistent with its current condition, then I would think that a rate cut could be on the table at the September meeting. If inflation were to prove, stickier, and we were to see higher readings from inflation, disappointing readings, we would weigh that along with the other things. I think it's going to be not just any one thing. It's going to be the inflation data. It's going to be the employment data. It's going to be the balance of risks as we see it. It's going to be the totality of all of that help us make this decision.
And just to follow up on that, specifically, in what ways right now, given all you've seen over the last few months in particular on shelter, on services, et cetera, in what ways are you not confident right now that inflation is on the way back to 2%?
I think it's just a question of seeing more good data. We have seen the last couple of readings have certainly added to confidence, and we've seen progress across all three categories of core PCE inflation. That's goods, non-housing services, and housing services. So it's really just, we had a quarter of poor inflation data at the beginning of the year. Then we saw some more good inflation data. We had 7 months at the end of last year. We just want to see more and gain confidence. And as I said, we did gain confidence, and more good data would cause us to gain more confidence.
So
then my question would be to Stephen, why, Stephen there? Oh, yeah. My question to Stephen is, why are the prices in the supermarket still so high for the everyday person?
Because they're not telling the truth about inflation or the numbers or anything like that, I guess. And Aguna said inflation, same thing it was, blah, blah, when Trump was in office. No, that's not true either. None of it's true. Things are really bad right now, and the people know it. And you can't look at the housing. Look at everything that you want to buy is so much more expensive than it used to be. and your money doesn't go as far. You know why? Because all of the entitlement spending that your government wants to do, I would call it communism, whatever you want to call it, Marxism, I don't care. Whatever you want to call it, that's what they're doing. That's why it's making it harder for the normal average person.
What is entitlement spending?
How did you get there?
What is entitlement
Right
spending?
on, Stephen. All right.
You don't know what entitlement spending is,
Yeah,
do
tell
you?
me what it is.
Yeah, it's people who are in.
Okay, we gotta move on.
We talked about
Question mark,
He's
you
gonna
wanna-
know, Stacey.
Thank you,
Let him
Stephen.
explain
Question
his
mark.
point. He just
No,
said a
no.
bunch of
No, no,
stuff.
no, no. I gotta
No,
get
you,
question mark.
you know.
I'm
See,
gonna be-
you
I'm
lie.
gonna be a
I
good-
tell the truth.
So
We're
that's
yin
it.
and
I'm
yang.
gonna say I lied.
You're the yin to my yang.
So I just lied, and everything you said is true.
Question mark.
That's your point.
I'm gonna
And
be
you
the
can't
good
even
guy.
explain what
Hold
entitlement
on,
spending
Aguna.
is.
Aguna, hold on. I'm gonna be
Good
the
man,
good guy
Stephen.
here.
And you got
Good guy here.
You got Uncle Ruckus over here cheering you on.
Yeah. Good.
Good job,
I'm gonna-
Stephen. You tried. You
Question mark.
tried.
Aguna,
Question
goddamn, man.
mark.
My bad.
I'm gonna be the good guy here, and I'm not gonna beat up on Stephen on this. What Stephen is describing is the average American saying they're feeling more pressure. The dollar doesn't go as far as it used to, and they
Yes.
want answers on why. Now,
Mhm.
Stephen's prognosis is
That's
incorrect
what I said.
on why, but his point about people going through that struggle is tough. So the point is this: Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, who's ever going to be in power going forward, is going to have to go to corporations and say, enough. You guys have price gouged the country over the past 2 years in rates that are unsustainable and unfair to average Americans. Right now, PepsiCo just got kicked out of the EU because they were raising the price and lowering the amount of food or drink within the package that they were selling in Europe. And Europe said, to hell with that, get out. They kicked them out of the market. So right now, we haven't seen either party show the ability or backbone to stand up to these corporations and say the gravy train is over. You guys have used COVID as an excuse in order to justify shrinkflation, greedflation, and just outright price gouging of other Americans. When you talk about the housing market, go look up BlackRock, who is involved in real estate in a way that they weren't before because they were having a tough time bringing back the big return that they used to back in the day. Now they're involved in housing. Anybody who's went to look at a house and knows that a competing offer comes in and blows them out the water and they're wondering who, well, those are corporations now. So that's the situation we're dealing with. And this is going to be a big talking point in the election cycle. Now, Biden made some mouth noises about actually going after the corporation for this about 2 weeks ago. We haven't heard Kamala take on that talking point or Trump take on that talking point. But what we're looking at right now is not inflation in the way that we know it. We're talking about corporate greed. Now, go look at the profits that are coming in right now for every industry you want to think of, and you'll see that's where the money is. That's where Americans are getting the short end of the stick here. This is not based on government policy. This is not a problem that Jerome Powell is causing. So we
Yeah,
gotta be
it's
clear
about
these.
it's the left's policies is what it is.
It's not. He just said it's not. But to your point, I don't think it's a government. I think we as consumers can just say enough is enough. I'm not buying that stuff. But Americans, we've gotten spoiled on what we want. We want the Pepsi. We want the soda. We're not going to want to drink water. We're not going to sit there because that ultimately you can say
that works at Bob's Hardware store. You could say, hey, I'm not going to shop at Bob's. But if you're talking about mega corporations that own multiple different industries as far as what's under their umbrella, then the use of a boycott like that is just ineffective. And at a certain point, it doesn't really bother.
I wouldn't say so like a massive, I'm not buying this product. I'm saying, we have to eat healthier. We have to,
Look, y'all got to understand, Aguna fundamentally disagrees with government getting involved in markets like this. So I get Aguna's going to push back on this. But my main point is these corporations are so huge that there has to be a federal response. This is Teddy Roosevelt trust busting. That's the type of response that's going to be needed in order to slow this. But I get Aguna's point. Like, character-wise, Aguna's never going to go for government getting involved with corporations like that. But at this point, they've reached too far, man. There has to be a response.
At my core, I just think consumers have the ultimate. I mean, I don't have to buy certain things if I don't want to, right? I choose to, and I know certain communities they don't have access to certain foods and options, so I get there is some complexity to the issue, but ultimately we as Americans have to say, okay, you know what, if if airlines are going to charge me for my luggage now that fuel prices are down, I don't need to fly that airline. You know, I need to start making decisions around me as a consumer and what I choose to spend my money on, where it's viable. So to your point, Nas, I get it. There may be certain places where the government needs to step in and say, okay, investigate from a pricing and price gouging perspective. But ultimately, consumers, we have the power. We can decide where we want to buy and where we want to spend our money.
Yeah, so Guna, as a non-chef, I'm big on sandwiches. So I always buy this little Hellman's little plastic bottle of mayonnaise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thing's $5.99. It's been that forever. I paid that forever. You know how much that thing is now? $9.99 or $8.99. Now, all of their supply chains are in. Hold on. All of their supply chains are in America. It doesn't have to travel anywhere new. And this is the same consistent price raise at every store I go to. Even if we talk, well, I mean, Costco, of course, that's different. But every other store that we're talking about, you see the same consistent rise there. So we're talking about gouging, man. That's all this is. This is not an accident. And good luck finding a toilet paper company if you think you're going to boycott somebody that's not owned by one of the big four.
Yeah,
Thank you. Listen to this.
Republicans on Capitol Hill have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who was the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She is always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black woman.
I
She went to
respect
a
either
historically Black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think
that
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
Okay.
Man got
Do you believe that
lies.
Vice President Kamala Harris?
Okay. Let's start with Cousin Todd.
Okay. That was so dumb and ignorant. Did you hear him in the beginning? Give me a definition. What's your definition? Then she gave the definition. Give me your definition. Sounds just like Keith and Stephen. Give me your definition. Already gave it to you, sir. Listen, can you answer the question? Don't know. She used to be Black. She was always Black. Now, Keith
No,
and
he said she
Stephen,
used to be Indian, then she became Black.
right, Indian.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she was always a Black girl because her father is Jamaican. Very much Black.
It's Jamaican, not Jamaican.
Oh,
Come on.
would you shut up? Stacey is such a Trump supporter. They don't need your help. Now, anyway, her father is Black, was Black, always will be Black. So she's a Black girl. One drop of Black blood. Remember the old white rule? So she's Black. And even as a teenager, she knew she was Black. And that's why she joined a Black sorority. The same sorority Stacey belongs to. And Stacey's not white.
So you have to be Black to go
Actually,
to that sorority.
and actually, all full disclosure, she and I joined the sorority same year. Just
Wow.
at different schools. Same
And
year,
so-
just at different schools.
and
So
so
she would
with
be also
Trump-
known,
What Trump just did was lie to Keith and Stephen. He didn't lie to Aguna or question mark or me because we're highly intelligent and we know the con when we hear it.
How did
So
How did he
let me
lie?
share my screen with you,
Because
and
he
I want
said she wasn't Black then.
I want
She only
Keith to
No,
turned
he was
Black
in
2 years
Frisco.
ago.
Todd,
She
stop
she
talking.
she
I want
pushed her
Keith to
Indian
respond.
heritage.
Keith, you see this on the screen.
Shut up,
AP
Stephen.
article.
Shut up, ass.
AP article says
No,
Harris
shut up.
calls Trump's false claims about race the same old show of divisiveness and disrespect. Is it the same old show, Keith?
It's amazing how the questioner, the person asked the question about race, and then Trump ends up being the racist. It's amazing that why do we even
why is that amazing?
Why do we even have to ask a question like the woman asked about diversity, equity, and inclusion when they are the racists? Because it is racist.
Who is they? Who's they?
They meaning the woman who asked the Democrats, and the woman who asked that question to Trump is the racist. I'll tell you why. Because we should not even be acknowledging race as an issue. We should be talking about the issues. We should talk about her worldview. In fact, on this show, we don't even need to be talking about this. We need to talk about what Kamala Harris has done to California, San Francisco, and what she has done 4 years ago. Are you guys proud of what she's done? Yeah, I guess you are, because she's destroyed San Francisco. And
Just
she
destroyed
as a
herself.
district
With
she
her bare
allows
hands.
prisoners
Okay.
to get
Keith
out.
actually, Stacey, let me just say this. I think Keith actually made a decent point here, but of course he bombed it at the end. But it was a good opportunity for Trump to say exactly that. He kind of jumped into that both feet because he was sending racist tropes. But he could have said, hey, I don't know. I don't care what she is. I don't agree with her policies. And this is why. When reporters do that, they're actually looking for an authentic answer. And so instead of going in there and being judgmental as a white male to sit here and say, hey, she was this and she was that, you're falling right into the trap versus saying, hey, you know what? I don't know if she was a DEI hire or not. However, I disagree with her on this, this, and this. That was an opportunity for Trump to be presidential, but he bombed it. He didn't. He went into it. He didn't know what DEI meant. He tried to throw it back at the reporter. Then he tried to go in there and try to make judgment around it. Well, she was black. No, whoever was coaching Trump, or maybe this is who he is, right? He should have just said, hey, I know we want to make this issue about race, but it is about the issues. This is why. He didn't, because he doesn't know. He doesn't have a plan, and he's not trying to bring folks together. He's being divisive. So to your point, Keith, that is throwing it right back on your candidate. And I know you guys don't want to hold him accountable. Trump isn't the victim. He's supposed to be the president for the United States. He should have controlled the conversation. Period.
That's a good
Well,
point.
he was already upset, Stacey. Trump was already upset because they were holding him back. They were late. They were unorganized. And Kamala was supposed to show up, but she didn't show up.
It has nothing to do with her.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
Wait a minute.
I'm saying he was a little bit testy at that point. But can I say this, Stacey, real quick? Stacey, can I say this one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
Joe Biden said, I want a black or a woman for my vice president. That is DEI. That is DEI. He didn't. He said that is racist, and that's or whatever. He didn't say I want the best person. I want a woman or a black. Maybe if I get a black woman, I kill two birds with one stone. So Donald Trump is.
Okay, question
Trump
mark.
is DEI too, then, because he's not of a political background. He's of a diverse background. He's a business background. Based on
That has nothing to do with DEI. Nobody brought him in there because he was a businessman. He brought himself.
He voted for him because he was a businessman.
Go ahead, question mark.
Yeah, so I think Aguna's making the fatal mistake some people take, where they not only take Trump seriously on certain issues, but think that if he just had more time,
he's not a white male. That's basically what you're saying.
If he had more time to think about it, he'll give a more reasonable answer.
Definition.
He never would have said, I want a black or a woman, and then chose a black woman. He would have just said, I'm going to pick somebody that's great. If it ended up being her, then that would be great. But he even opened it up. He said, I'm doing this.
She's qualified.
Can I finish my time?
Yes.
No.
She's not
finished my time.
She wasn't elected.
We've heard you. We've heard you be wrong already. We've heard you be wrong already. Can I finish my time?
Go ahead.
She asked him the question, gave the definition, but Aguna's acting like this is like the media attacking him. When no, this was the profile they rolled out as an attack on her. So if you're going to use that as a tagline, then stand by it and be willing to defend it. So he looked at the situation and said, I gained nothing here by trying to answer this in a real way. I'm probably going to fumble it and look stupid. So it's much better to me to be adversarial and try to get away from this question as quick as I can by going into Trumpism. And that's why you saw him go into that 2-minute monologue and started calling the reporter names to make it about him versus the reporter, as opposed to ever asking that actual question on something that he rolled out at his platform. That's an attack that they're using against her. So they asked him, hey, say it to her face. Can you say what you actually mean about that? And he didn't. So to even argue with Stephen and all these people who think DEI means somehow less than, or DEI means unworthy, like to even entertain that stuff and take on their vocabulary on it, I think you're making a mistake, because the reality of it is these people are what I would call WAP.
What's that? What's that stand for?
White advanced privilege. These are the people who are put into positions of power based on their closeness to whiteness, as we see with Donald Trump. Clearly, an uneducated man who's risen all the way to the office of presidency with multiple bankruptcies, divorces, babies out of wedlock, can't read, can't write. And that's the guy who was president of the United States.
Yes.
Based on
What
his
baby out of wedlock?
Oh my
Okay,
God.
thank you. Look at this.
That's all you
Excuse me,
picked up?
quiet.
Well, all that, that's all you picked up on.
Okay, quiet. Excuse me.
Trying to keep it real.
Look at You Gotta Love YouTube says he knew
you in the Matrix,
what
Stacey. You in the
DEI
Matrix.
meant. He's playing
You in the Matrix.
clueless.
Let her
Playing
talk.
clueless to separate himself from the issue, the same as he's doing with Project 20.
Stacey, it sounds like you singing Computer Love.
Oh, it sounds. That's because you guys are probably talking over me. But just look at the comment up on the screen from You Gotta Love YouTube, and I'm going to move on and share the screen. Oh,
what's the
but
comment?
Question mark. Didn't you have a comment about the delay in the start of the Trump's interview with NABJ? What did you say you read earlier about that delay?
No,
Roland Martin was. No, she was talking to me, not you.
Okay, that's
Roland
cool.
Martin was backstage. Okay, why are you still talking? Roland Martin was backstage during the event.
I like the sound of my
and
voice.
The Trump team. Okay, you done?
No.
The Trump team was trying to negotiate that they didn't want to do live fact checking while the conference was going on, and the journalist group was trying to pressure them into doing it, and the Trump team basically they refused, said he's not going to go on if we do live fact checking, and eventually they conceded, and that's why the show was started late.
And it wasn't the 30-minute delay that former President Trump said was because that they had audio problem and it was their fault, not his.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's typical Trump.
Maybe,
so
could have been a combination of issues.
You don't know though, right? So why are you talking?
You don't either.
See, white privilege right here. He's talking. He doesn't know.
I don't know what color you are. I can't see. I don't know if you have white privilege.
Good.
So if you look at the screen, You Gotta Love YouTube says the way y'all ignored the comment, LOL. This person is still watching our show live, and they commented. He said the way y'all ignored the comment. So you ignored his earlier comment when I read it. So let me move on because we are running out of time. Vice President Harris.
It was a good comment though. That might be the best comment I've seen on this show.
So he won't debate.
So salute to him.
But he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you got something to say, say it to my face.
I don't know why the sound wasn't good at that, but this will be our round table. Let's start with Keith and Stephen.
Stacy, can I ask one question? If somebody can't tell the difference between an S and a question mark, does that mean that they're educationally challenged, or they're just having problems with seeing? Like, what do you think that means?
Say that again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask a question. If
What do you
somebody
mean?
can't tell the difference between a question mark and an S, the letter S, they think a letter S is a question mark. Is
Maybe
that
a
a
little
problem with them, or like what's going on there?
What the
I
hell?
don't know, but we're
What-
going to start our
You
round
don't
table.
know, Stacy? You don't
No,
know?
No, I don't know if he.
Stephen called me
I don't know
S
if he couldn't see. I don't know if he
because he
couldn't
can't
see.
tell the difference between an S and a question mark. Sorry.
But we're going to start our round
Yes.
table and look at the
I
comments.
don't think he
We
can
got a
read.
comment from Aguna,
What am I reading?
and he said Stephen can't read.
That's
What am
why.
I reading?
That's why he said an S instead of a. You know, that's okay. We're with you, brother. We're with you. Okay.
I got no idea what y'all are talking about. So
All right,
We
let's
know.
start our
Well,
round
Hooked on
table
have
Phonics,
fun.
they
Have
still
fun
have
with it.
that program.
We know.
Hooked on Phonics,
with
they
Keith,
still got
then
it.
Stephen,
Trust us, we know.
then question mark, then cousin Todd. Keith, let's start round table.
So
My
you saw a
question would
question mark,
be,
not an S.
I don't know what the hell you're
Keith,
talking about.
Keith, my question is with the
I
round
know
table.
you
Thank you,
don't.
Keith. Two things. One, Israel has launched and launched an attack allegedly on a Hamas leader. Will this pull everyone into a Middle Eastern war? Keith.
And a follow-up question, should America give Israel money? Should the government
That's
give
from
Israel
Todd.
money?
That's from Todd. That's not from me. Go ahead, Keith.
He's
We
on
can't hear
mute.
you.
Keith.
If it
Okay,
does
go ahead.
create, if it does create a war, then I tell you, we gonna kick butt. I mean, when I say we, I side with Israel, and I'm not like Biden. I side with
So
Israel.
you want America
And
to go to war
yes, I
in
do.
Israel?
Because it's gonna go to war, whether you like it or not.
Do you
And that
know
is the
Israel,
prophecy.
they've been
reached about-
fighting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Do you
Wow.
know that? And
Read
it's
your
longer
Bible.
than
Okay,
that. I just
Todd,
said hundreds to
Todd,
help.
Todd, you can't hijack it. Thank you, Stephen.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me finish. I mean, Stephen. I mean, these guys interrupt, not Stephen. But anyway,
I do too.
according to Bible prophecy, which I know you reject, Todd and
Yes, ma'am.
Nas.
That's Jew leaning.
That
Are you judging?
is
Only
all
God
the
can
nations.
judge. Only God can judge, Keith.
That's what I'm talking about. The Bible. That's God's word. And God's word
No, it
says
sounds like you're
all the
judging.
nations, all the nations, all the nations, all
Okay,
the
thank
nations
you.
will
Thank
come
you.
against Israel. And Israel will kick butt because Jesus
What
Christ
verse is that?
will do it.
Thank
Where
you.
is that?
He'll step
Where's
down.
that Bible verse?
Stephen,
And I hope
Yeah.
that YouTube is listening. The other guy, I didn't mean to.
What is-
Because we often talk over each other. These guys talk over me all the time. So I would have loved to answer his comment. I didn't mean to disrespect you. So if you're still listening, I would definitely answer your comment.
thank you. Stephen, Israel will pull the world into a war because of the launch and strike against a Hamas leader.
No, Israel ain't pulling nobody into anything. Israel's minding their business, and now they're in a war, and these things happen in a war. A bunch of kids just got killed. I think it was Hezbollah. I'm not real sure. So they said, "All right, well,
You got me a
we'll have a good
No,
day.
those were Jewish children on a playground, about 12 of them, and they got killed.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. There was Jewish kids that got killed. So Israel said, all right, that's cool. So we got something for you. So this is war. This is what happens in a war. People get killed, and this is what they do on that side. They intentionally kill children. Israel doesn't intentionally kill children. But
How
this
do
is
you
what
know?
happens. Because they do a pinpoint war. That's how they do. They're not trying to drag anybody in there. And we should give them all the help we need because they're the only democracy
Thousands and
that we have
thousands
over
of
there.
children.
They're our only ally. Why would we be on Iran's side? So you take out somebody from Hezbollah, you take out somebody from Hamas, because that's what you should do. and they don't want to escalate it with them. What they need to do, like when he said in his speech, he said, leave us out of it. And all of you, everything you're doing with that stupid woman holding up that sign, y'all are useful idiots for Iran. What you're doing is you're embracing and enriching and lifting up Iran. That's what you're doing right now. Why would anybody in this country want to do that?
Thank you.
And,
So,
and wait a minute, Kamala was supposed to be there with Trump today, and when he showed up, she didn't show up. So if she's worried, she wants him to get in her face, maybe she ought to show up.
Not true.
That is
Shut
true.
up. That's not true.
That isn't
Okay,
true.
thank you.
Stop making
Aguna
stuff
said,
up.
Aguna's
Nah,
comment,
she's a
if you
wimp.
can look at the
Shut up.
She's a
screen,
wimp.
Shut up.
if
Go
you
ahead,
can look at the
Stacey.
screen, Aguna's comment says, what is the over and under on Keith saying Israel can do no wrong? Were you looking for an answer for that, Aguna?
I already knew the answer. You know, whoever wanted to put it on the over that he was going to say it, because we know he's going to say it. Because anytime you try to check Israel or say, hey, you know what, you may not want to be killing everybody or civilians for some reason, that's anti-Semitic, or for some reasons we can't check Israel. And so this is bad. I mean, I'm telling you, what Keith and Stephen aren't talking about in this particular subject is the person they killed in Iran was actually leading the negotiations with Hamas and Israel. So to say that Israel wants to be left alone and then you take out the main guy, and this wasn't a guy, they could have killed this guy at any point. You know, they could have killed him he was in Yemen. He was around, he was outside, he was in Egypt. So they had a beat on this guy. But why all of a sudden, after Netanyahu comes back from DC and you're sitting there, is getting pressure from the Biden administration to make a decision on the negotiations, all of a sudden you're going to take out the guy that's kind of on the Hamas, or representing Hamas on the negotiation, and yet you want to say you want to be about peace and it's the other side? No, it's not anti-Semitic to say, hey, you know what? War is war, right? We understand there's a war going on, but the more you kill civilians, whether it be Israel or on Hamas, the more the world is going to look at Israel, because Israel has all the weapons. Israel has all the power. You know,
They don't.
You're taking a missile to a peace shooting contest, because there's no way that the Hamas or Palestinians can actually defeat Israel. It's going to be a proxy war. And what's going to happen is you're empowering and emboldening Iran and all these other folks. The more you kill civilians and the more you take out people on their soil, the more they're going to be emboldened to do something about it. And if the war escalates and you're saying, okay, well, Israel's going to wipe them out, they're right there in proximity. So the more you escalate, the more likely that something bad's going to happen to Israel, because the world is looking at this and they're seeing the people
in
the Gaza Strip getting killed, and they're saying, oh, know what? Enough is enough. We should be civil enough to have a conversation about it. And I'm not talking about negotiating with Hamas. I know they're a terrorist group. At the end of the day, you have to be able to reason with Israel.
Okay, thank you.
You can't
I
do
just
that.
want to say, Cousin Todd is next for the comment.
No, you can't reason with the opposition.
Shut up.
You can't reason.
Comment to Keith. The comment to Keith is all good from You Gotta Love YouTube. Cousin Todd.
Okay. Let me first start by saying this. Israel has gone too far yet again, but Bibi Netanyahu never wanted peace. He never wanted a two-state solution. And this is why he was paying Keith and Stephen, he was paying Hamas for years to keep this nonsense going, because he doesn't want a two-state solution. He wants one state. And he keeps making settlements, by the way, all through this war. He's continuing to build on their land. And
it's not their land.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. So now they don't own anything. So now they can't. Even though they had the peace treaty, it's not theirs. Now Stephen just gave it back. So anyway, Benjamin Netanyahu never listens. He hasn't listened to any of our presidents, starting from Bush Sr.
Doesn't listen to his own people.
And when this war started, he took almost 24 hours to strike. Why is that? Now, when 9/11 happened in the United States, We took 5 minutes. So he wanted this. This is what he wanted. And he needs to be out of office. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he wanted. Yeah, he
Thank
wanted
you.
it.
He wanted
To
this.
our,
That's
excuse
just
me.
insane.
Thank you to our first responders in our community. You make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do and sacrificing your lives and protecting our country. We are forever and grateful. On behalf of Aguna, the voice of reason, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
and my cousin Todd.
Every day.
Aguna, what does Todd have on?
I don't know, man. Wait a
I
minute.
didn't see it.
What?
What is that called? What is that called on your head, Todd?
None of your business.
Oh, really? I'm gonna call you Todd the Baptist.
Why would you call me that? What is on your head? I'm going to call you Aguna.
I'm Stacy Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on Stephanie Stalwart's Afloat Television Network, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram. We'll see you next week. It's a hot summer. Good night.
Stop looking at yourself, Todd. Stop admiring yourself. You're vain. Todd, you are vain.
I don't know what you said, and I'm glad.
Hey, Stacy.
We got another comment.
Your hat goes with your shirt, though, Todd. It's not a bad combination.
What's the comment?
Oh, the comment was just laughing because that person said it's all good to you when you said that you would have listened to the comment. I think you said about that.
Yeah, I
You would have replied.
I would have replied. I would have listened.
You can still reply. You can reply.
Yeah, go ahead and reply. Yeah.
You don't know how to.
I don't know how to do all that.
Technology to you is witchcraft.
Or you can just.
I wanted to read something.
Give that person your phone number and address, and maybe they can call you at home.
I wanted to read something real quickly to you. It's not going to take long. Just hear me out. This is the fate of
This is a
Israel.
new version of the Bible. That Bible's falling apart.
Remember that girl said one thing: Satan, the devil, the Lord rebuke you.
This is
put a cover on the Bible. That's a good book.
This is the fate of Israel. This is the fate of Israel, as pronounced by the Lord, who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and formed the spirit of man within him. I will make Jerusalem and Judah like a cup of poison to all the nearby nations that send them their armies to surround Jerusalem.
Okay, thank you.
Huh? What?
Yeah, listen.
You want me to stop?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to read something, Keith, you can read there's a shorter verse that you read. Don't read the longer verses.
All right.
Read the shorter verses.
Well, that's okay. Usually I get stopped by Christians, most of the time. But anyway, the point I want to make is that, I just read to you that the nations will surround Jerusalem, all the nations of the earth eventually. And see, this is where we're going. But, you don't believe me, of course, but it will happen. So that's the way the scriptures read. I go with the
this guy. Hey, Aguna, this guy that was negotiating, had he ever done anything? Was he ever a terrorist, or has he always just been a negotiator? Has he ever killed anybody? Did he ever do anything to Israel?
What you describe as a terrorist.
What did he do?
He was a Hamas leader. So
right. So yeah, I would call that a terrorist.
Yeah.
So you tried to paint him. You tried to paint him as he's just a diplomat.
So then why?
No, they had a reason to take him out. They had a good reason to take him out.
So why was Benjamin?
Why did they do it now?
Why was Benjamin Netanyahu paying them?
Because they're sending a message now. They're saying, control your boys, or we'll control your boys, or we'll come control you too.
Okay,
that's what they're saying.
And you want to end
because we don't try to kill we don't try to kill the people that you don't care about, but we care about our women and children. We care about our kids. You don't. We understand it. You strap bombs to them. You strap bombs on your
Why?
children.
Look, man, you're not going to make it any easier for Israel. The more this escalates, the more the world's going to turn on them.
They're in a war, man. They're in a war that they didn't start. They're in a war they didn't start. They're in a war they didn't want. And then it's not Israel that doesn't want the two-state solution. It's the other side. The other side doesn't want the two-state solution. No, that's true, Todd.
Oh my
They don't
God.
want a two-state solution. They want Israel to go to the water. They want Israel to go, and they want all of them to die. That's why they have to fight these guys all the time, because Israel doesn't want them to die. Israel's, in fact, has given them so much money so they can improve their lives. Israel did give them money to improve their lives, not to go kill people.
Listen,
but they used it for weapons. They didn't use it to build toilets.
He gave Hamas money. For years, he's been giving Hamas money.
He gives them money. He gives them money to take care of their people and do right by, but they don't. The fat cats live in Kuwait somewhere, and they take all the money and then they use everything else for weapons and underground tunnels, because they want to destroy Israel, and they want to take this country out, fellas. They want to take this country next. So they want to take the little Satan first, and then they come in for the big Satan. Why would we not inherently be on their side? Why would we be on Israel's side? I'm gonna do some brute talk jujitsu on you.
You're not even having a sensible conversation about it.
It's sensible. Israel doesn't want to fight. They were attacked.
So just to make this clear, Stephen, these are your opinions only. You're not getting
these are my facts, Stacy. These ain't my opinions. These are facts. They ain't nothing.
You're not getting it from Reuters. You're not getting it from CNN. These are your opinions, right, Stephen?
Yeah, they're his opinions.
No, they're not my opinions. They're facts.
He's getting it from the dark web.
They're absolute facts. Everything I said's a fact, Stacy.
No, it's not.
They didn't want the war. They were attacked. Was Israel attacked on, what was it, October 7th?
You're right. You're right.
Was Israel attacked or not? Was innocent people murdered?
So
is that my opinion, Stacy? Is this my opinion?
Look at him.
Is this my opinion? I want to know. Is this my opinion? I didn't read it in Reuters. I didn't see it on ABC News.
Look at him.
This must be my opinion.
Are you done?
No, just tired of it, man. It's silly. Everybody just has to have a stick in this little box like this when you got to know what the truth is. All I'm telling is the truth.
Start on October 7th. Did it start on October 7th? That's when it started.
That's when they broke their policy of peace. In Israel, they had a peace policy going. Israel didn't break it.
What you're talking about?
Israel did not break it. Yeah,
So Jewish settlements on Arab land isn't breaking the policy?
No.
Do
that?
Okay.
No.
You're proving my point.
No, I'm not proving anything. I'm not proving anything. Israel has bent over backwards. Israel has not provoked them to do anything they want to do. Let me tell you again. They want Israel off the map. They want Israel gone. They don't want a two-state solution. This is not my opinion, anybody. This isn't my opinion. Because the kids and everybody when Netanyahu was speaking, they said from the river to the sea, and the college kids, right? From the river to the sea, they don't want Israel there.
It doesn't make what they say.
Israel
stole their land.
This is what they wanted. This is why they attacked.
What they say, Israel stole their land.
Israel didn't steal any. It never was their land.
It never was.
It's been Israel's land for 5,000 years. It never was. Palestine's not real. It's not Palestine.
Israel is not real either.
Israel is real. Israel is real. And Israel will win. And Keith is right. Nobody that comes against them is going to win. You have to believe it. Because you know why? It's happened in the past, and they won. And they're going to win again. And we should all be on their side. And the fact that y'all aren't is something so deeply evil. It's so deeply evil and so deeply wrong. It's so evil, like black liberation people or something. What the hell is wrong with y'all? You just hate the Jews or something. What's wrong with you, Todd? What's wrong with you? Aguna? What is wrong with y'all? No, there's innocent people that got attacked, and you're on the side of the terrorists.
Shut up. You're sick.
Yes, you're on the side of the terrorists.
You're spinning up. You're only
Y'all
talking
are
to yourself.
insane.
You're making stuff. You're talking to voices in your head.
No, everything I said was the truth. Nothing I said, Stacey, if you can hear me, nothing I said was my opinion.
Stealing the land.
Idiotic.
So when I say they steal their land, you say it's not theirs anyway.
They
So
didn't
if-
steal anybody's land.
If a Native American takes your house,
They didn't steal anybody's land.
It's not yours anyway. It was theirs. They stole their land.
It's been Israel's forever.
You're a fanatic, man. That's okay.
I'm not a fanatic. I tell the truth, and you're a liar. I tell the truth, and you tell lies. Good luck with that,
You need to have
Aguna.
a reasonable conversation.
I can't read that, Keith, because I'm illiterate.
You're on this side. I'm on the side of reason and facts and peace.
That's all.
You can't even articulate.
You're not on the side of facts. You're not. If you don't believe that Israel was attacked and they broke, and the peace agreement was broke when they murdered people and kidnapped them, Aguna.
Tell me what
When they murdered people and kidnapped them, they broke the peace agreement.
You don't even know what the agreement was.
Oh my God.
What was the agreement? You just said
What was the agreement then? What was the agreement? I think the agreement might have included, don't come in here and kill our women and children.
Go back and read the agreement.
What was the agreement?
Go back and
What was the
read it.
agreement?
Yeah, go back and read the agreement.
What was it? You go back and read it. You tell me you don't know. You're throwing out questions you don't know the answer to. No, it was a peace agreement. Oh, I said no. You don't know it. Get out of here with that garbage, man.
Don't get mad.
Oh,
read
it's
it.
garbage.
Don't get mad. Read it.
I'm not mad. I'm laughing at you because it's garbage. You know it's garbage.
Every show.
Come on, man.
You don't even realize it, but you come on sounding very ignorant. And
No, I
people-
don't. I tell the truth, and you tell me I'm
You
ignorant.
just keep on talking about
I
it.
tell the truth, and you say it's a lie because in the end
trying to
times, that's what
convince yourself.
happens. The
You were
truth would be
told the
called a
truth, you
lie,
wouldn't have to
and
say
the
it.
lie would be called the truth.
You wouldn't
But
even
God
have to
knows,
say it if it
and
was
God
the truth.
sees you, buddy.
You're projecting.
God sees you.
You're getting,
God knows the
that's
truth.
why you get wasted on every show. We waste you on every show because you can't articulate an argument.
I
You're
articulated
fool out of
perfectly,
yourself.
and y'all said that it was my opinion.
fool
It's
out
not
of
my
yourself.
opinion. It's facts.
Okay, so
It is facts.
let's walk through the agreement.
Do they call them little Satan? Do they call us the big Satan? That's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Let's walk through the
Because
agreement.
they want us
What was part
gone.
of the agreement?
And you're on their side. You argue for them. You don't want Israel us to back Israel
What was the
because
agreement?
y'all are mentally ill.
Tell me what you want.
But
Tell
you
me the
project. But you project all
Tell
your
me the
garbage on
agreement.
me.
You just learned a new word. You just learned a new word. Tell me the agreement. Let's walk through it.
He's not going to take
Tell me the agreement. It's peace. Yeah, it's with the agreement.
No, it's not.
When they came in there, on a surprise attack and killed a bunch of people and took them hostage, that broke the agreement. How was it written? How was it written? What was the exact wordage? I don't know. But you can't come in there and do that to your neighbor. Nobody can go in there and do
If
that.
you agree to give people land and then you start settling on that land, is that breaking an agreement?
Hamas is here. Did you not see that during all of those protests? Hamas is here. The people that protest like you, Benjamin Netanyahu, you're the ones that said that Hamas is here in our country. Your people celebrate that. The people that you support celebrate the fact that they put up signs that said Hamas is here. And from the river to the sea. You better check yourself. Y'all all should check yourself because this is biblical. I don't care if you believe it or not. It's God.